Alright, let's see here. I need an opening line. What's a good opening line? Come on, first impressions, one shot. Something catchy, something unique. Come on, they're gonna be here soon. Alright. Well, time to wing it. Because I'm a duck. Yep, that's right, folks. Not even a minute into the first video, and we're in pun country. Welcome to that level of content here at Rubber Duck Writing, my little slice of YouTube, where I get to talk about writing and world building, mostly world building, and you get to watch me descend into the depths of my mind and fight the madness lurking around every corner. Bring the family! Okay, serious now. Thank you for clicking on this video and watching this far. My name is Dan the Duck, DD for short. I have no idea if that nickname's gonna stick, but you know what? Let's throw it out there and see what happens. Maybe it sticks, maybe we never mention it again. My day job is doing software development, but I like to dabble on the side of doing various creative things. And one of those things I've been working on in the past, 2 years or so, has been doing some writing off and on, and now I feel like talking to strangers on the internet about the whole process. Now, I'm going to throw a disclaimer out there before anyone gets the wrong impression. I'm not a professional writer. Yet. Currently working towards that goal, and that's one of the reasons why I've made this channel. For years now, concepts and story beats have been bouncing around my head, and I have volumes worth of notes just waiting to be hammered into an actual story. So this is kind of a public way to hold myself accountable to actually get this project done. One of the things I like to do in my free time is watch various video game developers do live streams and dev diaries on their in-progress projects, and I thought, I bet nobody's done that for writing yet. I could do something like that. Well, one quick Google search later proves that theory wrong, and there's plenty of great resources like that already out there from other writers. Highly encourage you to check them out, by the way. And so why do this then? Well, there's already plenty of books out there, and that doesn't stop people from making more. So why not add another channel to the mix and see where it goes? And as a bonus, it's from a complete amateur, so hilarity ensues. So here we are at my online writing diary. Let's set some expectations of what you can expect from this channel. 1. I'm making this up as I go. Nothing I say should be taken as absolute law on how to world build, or how to write your story, or even the rules of my own world, which will likely change as I feel like I have to. So be flexible, like rubber, or some kind of waterfowl made out of rubber. I don't know where you would even find such a thing. 2. I'm probably going to do a lot of things wrong, and that's okay. This is a learning experience, a public learning experience, but still an emphasis on the learning. If there's something I do that you think might work for you, awesome. Take it and run with it. If you think my way is asinine, which is a classy writer's way to say ass, so be it. It might be. I fully expect to have to constantly tweak and refine a process that works for me. As long as you finish what you're writing, that's the goal. 3. The focus of this channel is probably going to be world building. There's a couple reasons for this. First is that I absolutely love world building. I will lose hours watching lore videos on YouTube, reading wiki pages, and just filling my brain with useless facts for a place that doesn't exist. And it's great! The second reason is a little more on the practical side. It's going to be a lot easier to share with you the world I'm building instead of the actual plot of the story. If I shared plot details, it would just kinda maybe be huge potential spoilers for a story that I actually want people to read and enjoy as a book, and not watch on YouTube. Now you might be asking yourself, what is this fictional world you're talking up even about? Well, I'm glad you asked. Engage overeager sharing mode. Here's the blueprint for the story. I want to tell a tale about an adventurer / explorer / proto-archaeologist type character set in a world that is getting close to their world's version of World War I. Now I'm going to guess what some of you are thinking. So Indiana Jones, but he fights the Kaiser instead of Hitler? Well, canonically, a young Indiana Jones does fight in World War I on the side of the Allied powers, so I guess that's already been done. Wait, no, bad DD, no deep dive lore tangents. Okay, so I just outed myself as a big Indiana Jones fan there. Yes, I love the indie movies. Well, most of the indie movies. Not that specific one we don't talk about, which actually, excuse me for a sec. First rule of the world, no Aliens! Okay, had to get that out of the way. Indiana Jones aside, that series actually isn't my main inspiration. I'll talk more about direct inspirations in future videos, but what I'm really drawn to is the age of adventure and exploration in our own world. The stories of great explorers, their races against each other to be the first to do something, the mystery and intrigue of civilizations forgotten by time, colonial powers scrambling for allegedly undiscovered parts of the world, and just the romanticism of the Victoria era coming to a close and the modern era starting to replace it and the worldwide upheaval that ensues. So, if I'm so fascinated with that era in our history, why not just write a fictional story set in our own world? I considered it, but at a certain point with fictional history stories, I feel like you either A, are constrained too much by the rules of actual history to tell the story you want, or B, start bending historical facts so much that why even bother claiming to be historically accurate in the first place? There's definitely stories that pull this off well, but I personally didn't want to have to walk that tightrope. Also, usually there's this cliche at the end of a lot of adventure history books where the heroes find the all powerful MacGuffin, but for whatever reason, it doesn't actually change history in a meaningful way. Looking at you, Warehouse Scene and Raiders of the Lost Ark. While I'm still working on the plot outline, I want to give my characters a chance to have a real impact on the history of the world going forward with their discoveries. As I thought about it more, other reasons also came to mind. There were certain elements I wanted to include that wouldn't be feasible in our world for that time era. For example, I want the golden age of aviation to play a large role in the story. And since the airplane wasn't invented until 1903 our time, it's pretty much impossible to plausibly give my characters access to transoceanic air travel in 1910. So, by making my own world, I can make various tweaks to human advancement to get them where I want to be technologically for the setting of my story. One slight problem with all this, though. I'm writing a story about someone who chases ancient artifacts. So, where do these artifacts come from? Well, they probably come from an ancient civilization. Duh. But where did that civilization come from? Well, that's easy too. Just make up a backstory for it. Okay, but was their culture built off the remains of a previous civilization? Okay, yeah, I guess so. Well, we'll just write up information about the parent culture too. Well, wait, were they an offshoot of another group? Yeah, okay, probably. So let's come up with a backstory for a larger migration of that group of people. Easy. Okay. But what about the land they settled on? That would influence what crops they could grow and how they survived, right? Yeah, okay, good point. And their environment would probably influence their mythologies. And what about their neighbors? Were they peaceful or warlike? Did they trade? That would influence what goods they had access to, and of course, they would share knowledge and religion along trade routes, and their neighbors, and their neighbors' neighbors, and their neighbors. And we haven't even talked about ice ages yet. Ah, you! Yeah. You can see the dilemma. I'm pretty much committing myself to building a whole world history here, from the exodus of early man from their cradle to roughly 1900 our time. So that's only about 315 million years, give or take. But do I have to do it this way? No, I don't. This is definitely world building overkill. You could just as easily say, I want artifact X to be found in civilization Y, and come up with just enough backstory to do the job. Actually, one of the problems with this method I'm using is that I have to be very careful not to bombard the reader with a history lesson for a fictional world. I personally want to know everything about the world's history, but the reader only needs to know what's relevant to the story. For those that are really engrossed, I can probably make a wiki or something. Or they can follow along with this video series and learn all about it. So, yeah, this is overkill, and definitely not the only way to do world building. But hey, I want to do it this way, and it should be a fun exercise for me. And while I do this, you are all welcome to join me on this trip to a brand new world. Quack.